If you've ever been a people pleaser who chooses silence just to keep the peace, it is time we grow up just a little bit. Not to become hostile, not at all, but to learn how to actually protect our boundaries. You know exactly the feeling I'm talking about. You open a Slack message or a corporate email from a coworker, and it is just dripping with unearned passive aggression. Instantly, your chest gets tight, your heart starts pounding against your ribs, and your mind goes completely blank. Or maybe it is that snarky, underhanded comment from a relative at Thanksgiving dinner. In the moment, you freeze. You just awkwardly laugh it off, swallow your resentment, or say nothing at all because you don't want to be the one to make a scene. But then, fast forward, 12 hours. You are standing in the shower, completely emotionally drained, replaying the entire interaction on an endless loop. You are having a full-blown imaginary argument with your shampoo bottle, physically beating yourself up and visualizing all the perfect, sharp things you should have said back to them. If your chest tightens just thinking about that cycle, I completely get it. But let's be radically honest for a second. That cycle is exhausting, and it is quietly destroying your self-esteem. Welcome back to Paperweight Thoughts. I'm here to help you navigate the messy, confusing parts of adulting without losing your mind or your self-respect. Here is the harsh but liberating truth about why we get stuck in that shower.
I feel like I always mess up somehow.
As chronic people pleasers, we have been conditioned to believe that if we just explain our side well enough, or if we just stay quiet and absorb the hit, the other person will eventually realize
this can't be happening.
We think being the bigger person means serving as an emotional sponge for someone else's toxic behavior. So, when someone takes an unfair shot at us, our anxious brain goes into overdrive. The internal monologue starts screaming. Wait,
I can't.
did I do something wrong?
I just can't
do this. Do they secretly hate me?
Don't give up.
How can I fix this before they get mad?
But it's impossible.
We try to mold ourselves into whatever shape will make that terrible tension go away. We start typing out a massive, defensive, 5-paragraph response to that passive-aggressive email, desperately trying to justify our actions and prove that we are actually a good person. But that right there is our biggest blind spot. When you do that, you are stepping right into a psychological trap. I need you to internalize this next concept and remember it. The very next time you feel that familiar panic set in, the golden rule in any confrontation is this: whoever rushes to explain themselves automatically loses. The absolute second you start nervously over-explaining, you are handing over all of your psychological power. You are silently signaling to the other person that they have the authority to judge you. You put them on a pedestal, and you play the role of the suspect in their interrogation room, desperately trying to prove your innocence. You aren't keeping the peace, you are just validating their disrespect. Have you ever found yourself doing that? Have you ever found yourself apologizing for things you didn't even do wrong, just to end an uncomfortable silence? Let me know in the comments below, because I promise you're not alone in this. We all do it, but it stops today. Because to stop it, we have to look really closely at the exact moment the trap snaps shut on us. Let's talk about the trigger moment, that split second where your nice person syndrome completely hijacks your brain. Let's set a scene that I guarantee you have lived through. You are sitting at your desk, just trying to get through a Tuesday, when a coworker publicly tags you in a team Slack channel or copies your boss on an email. They write something like, "Why is this report missing the data?" It is phrased as a harmless question, but let's be real, it is a sniper shot. They are intentionally throwing you under the bus. Instantly, you feel physically backed into a corner. The heat rushes to your face. Your instinct, that deeply ingrained, low EQ default response, starts screaming at you to fix it. You think, oh my God.
No.
Everyone is
watching. This can't be happening.
I need to show them I'm not incompetent. So, what do you do?
Why isn't it working?
You start furiously typing out a 5-minute monologue of a response. You detail every single step you took. You explain that Jim from accounting was actually the one who didn't send the file. You over-apologize for the confusion. And you probably end it with an exclamation point or a friendly sign-off, just so you don't seem angry. Or maybe it happens in your personal life.
You're doing just fine.
You are at a family gathering, eating your dinner in peace. When a relative zeroes in on you across the table, they tilt their head, put on that fake concerned voice, and ask, "You're 25 And still not thinking about marriage? Are you planning to be single forever? The entire table goes quiet, and once again that internal panic flares up. Instead of recognizing
I'm
how
sorry,
insanely intrusive and rude that question is, your reflex tells you to justify your
I'm
entire
not sure what to
existence
say.
to them. You
No,
start
that's not
nervously
quite what
rambling.
I meant. It's
You
just
explain how you are just really focused
no
on
hard
your career
feelings,
right
right?
now, how the dating market is tough, how you are actually perfectly happy on your own. You serve up your personal life on a silver platter, basically begging them to validate your choices. Let's take a psychological X-ray of what is actually happening in these moments. Why do we default to this? We do it because we operate under a completely flawed assumption. We think that if we just use enough kindness, or if we present enough pure, rational logic, we can win them over. We secretly hope that if we explain our perfectly reasonable perspective, they will suddenly realize they were being
I can't believe
harsh,
I did that.
and they will apologize and back off. But here is the harsh reality that I need
I
you to
know,
accept.
it's rough.
It never, ever works. The more you try to use kindness or logic to satisfy a manipulative question, the more they see you as an absolute doormat. By answering their ridiculous accusations with a perfectly typed out essay or a nervous defense of your life, you are secretly
All
telling
right,
them that
just
they
one
have the right
press.
to demand this information from you. You reward their bad behavior.
Exhale.
You end up emotionally bleeding out. You drain all of your own energy and self-worth just trying to maintain this illusion of peace. And the worst part? They face zero accountability. They get to sit back, watch you squirm, and feel completely powerful, while you feel
I
completely
hate taking the
exhausted.
bus.
You are
Everyone's
twisting
looking
yourself
at me.
into knots to make sure they don't feel uncomfortable about making you uncomfortable. It is a rigged game, and it is time we stop playing it. To stop playing that rigged game, we have to look past the surface of what people are saying and understand the underlying psychology of what they are actually
Wait a minute.
doing to us. Often,
I just
these subtle
realized
attacks
something
don't look
big.
like attacks at all. They
I
come
cannot
wrapped in this
believe I messed that
incredibly
up.
frustrating layer of plausible
Don't worry,
deniability.
you can fix
It is
it.
the coworker
No,
who
it's
tacks
too
on a
late
friendly
now.
little smiley face right at the end of a passive-aggressive demand. It is the friend who delivers a deeply cutting insult, watches your face drop, and then immediately
I've never been on a friend
backpedals
date
with,
before.
"Whoa, I
This
was
is
just
a
joking.
lot."
Don't be
No,
so
no,
sensitive."
it's fine. Don't
Or
worry, it's fine.
it is the relative who crosses a massive, highly personal boundary and defends it by saying, "I'm just being honest with you because I care." If your chest tightens when you hear those phrases, I completely get it. It is maddening. Let's unpack that just joking defense for a moment, because it is the ultimate ego trap. Why do people do this? They do it to safely test your boundaries without taking any responsibility. If you get visibly angry, if your voice shakes, or if you lose your temper and lash out, they win. They get to flip the script and make you look like the unstable, overly emotional one. They get to walk away saying, "Wow, you really can't take a joke, can you?" That is exactly why getting angry or rushing to defend yourself completely fails. To break this cycle, you need to understand a core psychological concept, the conversational frame. A frame is the invisible set of rules that governs any interaction. It dictates who has the authority, who is asking the questions, and who is answering to whom. When someone throws out a loaded question or makes a subtle accusation, they are actively setting up a frame. They are building a tiny, invisible courtroom where they are the judge sitting up on the bench, and you are the suspect standing at the defense table. Here is the trap. Our low EQ, people-pleasing instinct tells us that we need to step into that courtroom, take the stand, and present our evidence. We think, if
So
I just show them my
wanted
proof,
to say,
if I just
hi,
explain myself clearly,
just
I will win the
hi.
case, and they will
Yeah.
respect me. But the absolute second you step into their frame to answer them, you have already lost. By engaging with their premise, you are automatically
can't do this
accepting their
anymore.
rules of the game. You are agreeing, subconsciously,
hey, you
that they have
okay?
the authority to put you on trial in the first place. Let's be radically honest for a second. When you
I'm
haven't done
sorry,
anything
I'm not
wrong,
quite sure I
why
understand.
on earth are you acting like a suspect being interrogated? The highest EQ individuals, the people who command effortless respect without ever raising their voice, understand this. They practice emotional detachment. Emotional detachment doesn't mean you are cold or unfeeling. It means you are creating a massive protective buffer between their toxic behavior and your self-worth. When an accusation is thrown at them, they do not let their ego hijack their mouth. They know that whoever loses their temper, or whoever rushes to fill the silence with justifications, instantly loses the power. You are not a bad person for wanting to defend yourself. It is a natural human instinct to want to be understood. But true power comes from realizing that you do not owe anyone an explanation just because they demanded one. You have to look at their bait, recognize it for exactly what it is, and simply refuse to step into their frame. So, how do we actually refuse to step into their frame? How do we stop being defensive and start taking back control in real time? I am going to give you 4 incredibly specific psychological judo moves. These are Jedi mind tricks designed to instantly disarm the aggressor, making them feel the awkwardness of the situation while you remain completely, effortlessly unfazed. Case number 1 is when you are being falsely accused of something, maybe by a manager at work or a partner in a relationship. Usually, our low EQ panic sets in, and we immediately start pleading. Our anxious inner thoughts take over, and we frantically say, "No, I swear I didn't do that. You have to believe me." We start gathering evidence to save ourselves. Instead, I want you to try trick number 1. Reverse the burden of proof. The next time someone accuses you out of thin air, do not defend yourself. Pause for 3 seconds. Keep your voice completely neutral. Look them calmly in the eye and just ask, "What exactly are you basing that conclusion on? Show me the proof."
Interesting.
Why does this specific phrasing work? Because it tosses the hot potato right back into their lap. You are demanding that they do the heavy lifting of proving their ridiculous claim, rather than you doing the exhausting work of disproving it. Case number 2 is when you are facing snarky, devaluing, deeply personal questions, like that relative obsessing over why you aren't married yet. The low
Look,
EQ default is
I
to
can
justify
explain
your choices
everything.
by saying,
Just hear
"Well,
me out."
I'm just focusing on my career right now, so I don't want to get married." But remember, that is stepping into their courtroom. Instead, use trick number 2. Break the question frame. We are going
Does
to flip
this
the
look
spotlight
right?
and expose their psychology. The
Just
next
a
time
bit
someone
higher.
asks an intrusive
Like
question,
this?
look at them
Yes,
with mild,
that's it.
almost clinical curiosity and ask, "Why are you so overly concerned about my relationship status? Are you projecting your own fears onto me?" Let that hang in the air. The silence will be deafening. You are shifting the focus from your perfectly fine life choices directly onto their highly inappropriate behavior. It makes them intensely uncomfortable, and honestly, they deserve to feel that discomfort. Case number 3 is dealing with an illogical, highly emotional arguer who is just throwing labels like unprofessional or selfish at you.
Arg.
Our default instinct is to get deeply offended and match their chaotic energy. We want to yell back, "What the hell are you even talking about?" But when you get mad, they win. Instead, try trick number 3, Socratic questioning. Stay remarkably calm, lower the volume of your voice, and keep questioning their premise. Say, "I'm not sure I understand." How exactly are you defining the word unprofessional here? What is your metric for that? Watch what happens. People who rely on emotional manipulation rarely have actual logic to back it up. By forcing them to define their terms, you get to watch their weak argument completely collapse in on itself, while you don't even break a sweat. Finally, case number 4 is when someone tries to force you into their twisted standards, maybe accusing you of being boring or playing it too safe. The low EQ trap is to swallow your pride and agree. "Yeah, I guess I do play it too safe. My bad." Instead, use trick number 4. Reclaim the definition. You redefine
I saw
the
you
game
take that paperclip.
entirely on your terms. Look at them and say, "To me, being safe isn't about being cowardly. It is
The
about
key
not
is
throwing
understanding
myself
how
into
they
pointless
interact with
risks."
the napkin.
Does being bold mean being reckless at all costs to you? You are not a bad person for choosing your peace over their comfort. Your dignity is yours to protect. And these
Okay.
tools are how you build the
One
shield.
breath at a
Once you start
time.
deploying these 4 tools, something profound is going to shift in your life. But let's be radically honest for a second. The very first time you do this, you are probably going to feel terrible. Your heart will race. Your low EQ, people-pleasing programming
Oh,
is going
no.
to absolutely scream
This is
at you.
happening again.
Your anxious inner monologue will start spiraling. Oh my God, was I too harsh? Are they going to hate me? Am I the toxic one now? We have spent so many years confusing being a nice person with being a completely compliant human doormat. Because of that, the exact moment we finally stand our ground, it feels like we are committing a crime. You will feel this intense, overwhelming urge to text them an hour later. Your thumb will hover over your phone, wanting to send a massive paragraph apologizing for being firm, just to smooth things over. Do not send that text. Put the phone down. Here is the psychological truth we all have to wake up to. Respect is not just magically handed to you because you are a fundamentally good, kind person. People do not automatically protect your peace just because you are accommodating. You actually have to learn how to be firm to earn that respect back. We operate under this delusion that avoiding conflict is the same thing as having peace. It is not true. Lasting peace does not come from being quiet. It comes from having crystal clear boundaries. I want you to really visualize the immense physical relief that washes over you when it finally clicks in your brain
I
that
can't
you are
do this
allowed to
anymore.
just say, no. Picture the next
Put it
time
away.
someone tries to drag you into a highly emotional, draining
I
argument.
am.
Instead of your usual reaction, instead of getting defensive, matching their volume, and losing your entire afternoon to stress, you just look at them and realize, wait a second, I don't actually have to answer this. I don't have to participate in this chaos. I am opting out. That realization is the ultimate shield. Your dignity, your time, and your words are entirely yours to control. Nobody can force you into their mental courtroom unless you hand them the keys and willingly take the stand. If someone gets angry at you because you finally decided to set a boundary, let them be angry. Their anger is not your responsibility to fix. They are simply mourning the loss of the emotional control they used to have over you. You are not a bad person for choosing your own mental stability over their comfort. Shifting from being constantly reactive to being totally,
You can do this.
calmly in control doesn't happen overnight.
You
It
got
is a
this.
muscle you have to build. If you still struggle with the guilt of pushing back, or if you freeze up and don't know exactly what to say in these manipulative moments, I highly recommend the book, Set Boundaries, Find Peace, by Nedra Glover Tawwab. It is the ultimate survival toolkit to master the exact skills we talked about today. Check the link in the description. I'm Paperweight Thoughts, here to help you get a little stronger every day. Subscribe if you want to figure life out together. See you in the next one.